All right, guys, today we're going to be talking about refraction again. We're going to be talking about refraction over the surface of the flat Earth, and we're going to use the flat Earth as an example. But before we do that, because there was some confusion in the last video, I wanted to give a different graphic. Okay, I think this graphic is better than the graphic that I was showing, and basically what it's showing you is that if your horizon is here and the sun is below the horizon, because of refraction, because of the sun passing through the layers of the atmosphere around the earth, you're going to get a refractive index based on each of the layers. Okay, so you can see that. And then because of that refraction, as the observer, you're not going to see the sun down below the horizon. Right? Your horizon is here, and that means if I'm an observer looking along the horizon, I'm not going to be able to see anything below it. Okay, but because of refraction, okay, so you have the light of the sun shining, and it hits a layer of the atmosphere, it's shining, you have a refractive index taking place, and it ends up hitting the light of the eye of the observer, right? The light of the sun ends up hitting the light of the eye of the observer. That's you standing here. So your perceived position of the sun is going to be well above the horizon. And in the heliocentric model, I think it's like 5 degrees or something like that. The sun is actually half a degree in the sky, but with refraction in the heliocentric model, the sun would appear above the horizon. And that is absolutely correct. This graphic is absolutely accurate. I would not argue this graphic because we can see, right, when you put light through a fish tank or you put light through anything, that the laser is going to bend down. Right, now here's where the misconception has come from in recent months when it comes to light bending down. So I want you to look at this. The true position of the sun in the example on the globe is below the horizon. But because light is bending down due to refraction, I'm able to see it. Now, what would happen if the light was not bending down? Right? Well, let's take the original ray of the sun and just draw a line straight out. Where would that light be going? It wouldn't be hitting my eye, right? I would never see the light of the sun above the horizon. It would never hit my eye. It would travel in a straight line away from my line of sight. If the sun is below my horizon, in this example, I would never ever see any of the light of the sun except for the light coming up over the horizon from the sun that is set below it. Right? The sun would not appear above the horizon in that case if light was traveling in straight lines. Okay, so the true position of the sun is below the horizon, but on a ball, I'm perceiving the sun above the horizon. This is absolutely accurate of what we would see on a ball, and I'm going to show you what we would see on a flat Earth. But first, I want to re-emphasize the ball. Okay, so when we're looking at the graphic here, very similar to the other graphic that I showed you, the only difference is there are not two suns. So what I want to do is, instead of putting the sun below the horizon, which it would be on a globe, I want to put the sun above the horizon, which it would be on a flat Earth. And I want to take the angle of refraction. I mean, since it's coming straight out of the sun this way, right? All of these angles are coming straight and bending down. If they're hitting, an angle coming this way isn't going to hit the atmosphere, right? I mean, if you got a light ray from the sun coming this way, it's not going to bend down, okay? It's going to keep going because the sun is in the vacuum, right? I mean, that's what they say, and it probably is. But in order to have a gradient pressure that ends up in a vacuum, you need to have wind blowing, and you need to have an ability to create a container, right? That's the only way it would really be possible. People say gravity is the container, but the problem with that is I've got to have the airflow or I'm not going to be able to create a gradient. The gradient isn't going to work without the flow of air, with or without a container. It's not going to matter. You've got to have the wind. And that's why we have the winds of heaven. So what I want to do real quick is I'm going to change the earth out. All right, so we're going to delete the ball, which it really should have been, if people think for themselves, deleted a long time ago. Dang it, hold on just a second. Now we're going to delete the ball. And I'm going to adjust my perspective of the earth, right? And the horizon of the earth is going to be equal to the horizon of the sun, because the sun on a flat earth isn't going to be under the horizon. It's going to be above the horizon, right? And as a result, the light of the sun above the horizon on a flat earth is going to do exactly what it does on a ball. It's going to bend the light down. And because the light of the sun is being bent down, the light of the sun is going to be lower than it appears in the sky, which means that refraction is actually going to help set the sun. Okay? If we're looking at a building in the distance, the light from the building is not going to be pushed up above the horizon because we're not living in a convex surface. The light from the building is going to be pushed down. So what we can do is we can copy this line and we can make another line. And we say that the light from the building is shining in all directions, but that's not what light does. Light travels parallel away from the object. So the light is traveling in straight lines away from the object in every direction. Let's add another line. So if I add this line here, click off of it, add another line, add this line here, click off of it, add another line, add this line here. All of the light from the building is going to be curving down over the surface, right? So the building is not going to appear higher in the sky. It's going to appear below the horizon because the further I am away from this building, so let's add an observer. Forget the earth with this example, right? The earth is now the land because we're talking about a building, right? So we'll just get rid of the earth. And we're going to add the observer because we have the horizon, right? I know what light is going to do because of refraction. Okay, I know that if I'm looking at the light of the building, remember the light of the sun is coming to the building. Doesn't matter where the sun is. The light of the building is traveling in a straight line, but because of refraction, the light of the building, okay, if refraction works on a globe, it works on the flat earth in the exact same way. So the light from the building is curving down into the ground. Because as the observer, if I'm standing here on a flat surface looking at the building, because of refraction, I'm not going to see the building at all. Because with refraction, because it's an angle and the angle is exact based on the index, that means that distance matters, right? And the further away I am, the less I'm going to be able to see the object. But as I move closer, I mean, if we think about the observer here, as I'm moving closer to the object, I'm able to see the top part of the object, right? And as I move even closer, I'm able to see even more of the object. And as I move even closer, even more of the object until I get close enough to where I can see the whole thing. That is what would happen on the flat earth with refraction. I look forward to the comments.